everyone, and welcome to Week 11. You got to be kidding me. Week 11. There are only 14 weeks in the college football season, so we're heading down the home stretch here. But let's talk to James a little bit about what we have coming up in Week 11 of college football.
What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and I'm here with Greg McGarity, and this is the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection presented by Toyota, where each and every week we go over what happened last week, what happened to the current week, and how it pertains to the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl played here in Jacksonville, Florida on January 2nd. A lot of exciting things have happened. The most important thing in the world happened on this past Tuesday. The thing that we've all been waiting for, to figure out how we're going to pave the way for the future, and that's the college football playoff. That's what all you guys have been. The only thing we've been worried about is the college football playoff, so that we can know what's going on. And the first rankings came out. I'll just go over the top 12 teams. Then we'll go over that. Oregon's number 1, Georgia's number 2, Miami's 3, BYU's 4, Ohio State's 5. Texas 6, Penn State 7, Indiana 8, Tennessee 9, Notre Dame 10, Alabama 11, Boise State 12. In those rankings, you have to have the teams that they feel will be the Power 4 conference champions, and then you have to have the highest ranked Group of 5 team in there as well. That would be Boise State, and then from there, it's a hodgepodge of teams from the SEC, ACC, and Big 12. SEC and the Big Ten, but what are your predictions on when it actually kind of ends? Like, how many from the ACC, how many from the SEC, how many from the Big Ten, or even Group of 5?
Well, I think a lot depends on this weekend. Alabama, LSU, that's really kind of an elimination game. You've got Pitt, you've got Notre Dame, you've got Duke, you've got some ACC teams that are kind of in the running. And while those seeds, you had mentioned the seeds that are in play, you're probably going to have the fourth placed team in the bracket, not the fourth best team in the country. BYU may be seeded 8 or whatever, but the Big 12, if they're higher ranked than the Group of 5, and then they have to take a spot into one of those 4 seeds there. So a lot of interesting dynamics. I think you're going to have some eliminations games coming up. At the end of the season, Texas has played Texas A&M. Tennessee's got to play Georgia. Ohio State's got to play Michigan. They're not as good as they've been. Ohio State's got to play Indiana too, which is currently hosting Tennessee in the first round. But I think the great thing about this is that here we are a month away from Selection Sunday. And we're talking about this matchup, the potential matchups. We know it's going to change. It'll change probably every week. But it's fun to play the game. It's got people talking about college football. And for us, it really helps because it tells us who we may not have access to. You mentioned number of teams. You may have 2 or 3 in the ACC if you count Notre Dame in that mix. You could have 4. I don't know about 5 in the SEC, but who knows? It depends also on who's ranked really 10th and below, because if they keep losing, that's going to push some SEC teams up because there are 3 teams in the SEC that are bunched together. Texas A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss are bunched together. So a lot depends, a lot of movement, but we just know that it's important to us to view this because those teams that are not playing in that 12-team playoff will have access to our bowl.
Well, you mentioned something to me about the college football playoff that was interesting. The top 4 teams, where do those teams play, and how do they choose where those teams play at?
Well, once you reach that quarterfinal, then the teams that are higher seeded play at the bowl sites that their conferences have an affiliation with. So right now, Oregon, being a Big Ten member, they usually play in the Rose Bowl. So they go to the Rose Bowl. Georgia, number 2, the SEC plays the Big 12 in the Sugar Bowl. So that game would be in the Sugar Bowl. Miami is a 3 seed. The ACC has an agreement with the Orange Bowl, or had one. They would feed into there. And then BYU, since the Sugar Bowl has already been taken by Georgia, a higher seed, they would feed into the Fiesta Bowl. So your conference affiliation comes into play. It doesn't matter about proximity or anything like that. It's where's your conference affiliated, or where have they been affiliated with bowls in the past?
Oh well, that's again interesting information that you will have, so you can be smarter than your friends when you talk about college football playoff. We'll get into the Gator Bowl predictions and what we're looking at right now. But let's talk about, we had some good games last week, but more importantly, we have some really exciting games
Yeah.
that set the stage for here. The ACC is having a lot of parity this year, but so is the SEC. You talked about elimination games. It feels like each week in November is going to feel like elimination weekend for somebody. So Alabama, LSU, whoever wins this game, basically, again, they get a chip, they stay with a chip in the chair if you like poker. The other one, basically, we could do this with a smile on our face, because I wouldn't be mad about either one of them.
Right.
The other one basically gets put into the pool of Gator Bowl candidates. So,
Correct.
But what do you think about that game?
Well, I do think it's an elimination game. It's going to be hard for one of those teams with 3 losses to be in play. So 10-2, as you see, Alabama's right on the edge right now with an 11 seed. So they're on the they're right on the edge right now. So if LSU beats them, they'll be ranked higher than Alabama, and Alabama would be in our pool as well. Ole Miss, I think if Georgia beats Ole Miss this weekend, Ole Miss will be eliminated from the college football playoff as well. So Texas plays Florida. Who knows what's going to happen at Florida at quarterback, but you can't doubt it. But Florida's playing a lot better.
Yes.
Can they beat Texas? I don't think so. But 2 surprise teams, South Carolina and Vandy, play in Nashville. And who would have thought that would be one of the most attractive games this weekend? Because what South Carolina did to A&M last week was crazy. And to see Vandy go on the road and beat Auburn. So they've beaten the 2 Alabama schools this year.
And
who would have
beat
thought
Texas? They've been, both teams have been really
and they're
really
both
surprising.
They're both bowl eligible. I mean, to have South Carolina, I think South Carolina, Vandy is, I think it's really going to be an interesting game. And then Tennessee should waltz over Mississippi State, and then Missouri Oklahoma's at Missouri, but Oklahoma's really going to struggle to win 6 games this year.
Yeah, weird situation. Oklahoma you feel like they should be more powerful, more explosive. Just haven't done it. But Missouri also has been playing up and down, quarterback issues, those things. Going over to the ACC, Syracuse started hot. I remember, again, transfer portal. Will Howard goes there. Coach says he should send Ohio State some flowers or some chocolates for giving them that. They've gone down. Boston College started off really hot. What other games in the ACC do you think, and are there elimination games for this, or for positioning for that chance to play in the ACC championship?
Well, Miami's got to keep doing their thing to play in Atlanta against Georgia Tech, and I'm not sure Tech's quarterback status, but if Haynes plays, that's going to make Georgia Tech that much better. Clemson at Virginia Tech is going to be interesting. While Virginia Tech's not in the running, Clemson with another loss, they would be totally out of the mix. But it doesn't matter if they're in our mix or not, because they cannot come to our game, because the ACC contract strictly prohibits teams from repeating the same bowl sites in 2 years in a row. So even though there'll be prognosticators that have Clemson there, forget about that. They can't come to our bowl game, as much as we'd love to have them, but they're prohibited but coming.
That's why I always say stop trusting the experts. Trust the people who are in it way more than you trust the experts, because, again, you can't get more insight than the inside man, Greg McGarity. I think he would know. So just putting that out there. You might be smarter than the prognosticators at this point. Duke, NC State, Manny Diaz, great story, doing this thing. Talk about a trap game, because I don't believe it's a trap game. I'm taking the spread with Notre Dame. But Notre Dame has to keep they can't just duck and look and peek at, which I never thought I would say in my life. They can't peek ahead to Army or whoever they got the games before. They can't use this as a bye week. They lose this, are they out of the college football playoff?
I mean, you would not be able to overcome losing to Northern Illinois and FSU. You would be out of the running. So they'd be in our pool. So it's a huge game for them, and all you have to do for Notre Dame is mention Northern Illinois. That's the lesson they learned. They cannot take anyone for granted, and I promise you, Coach Freeman's going to have them amped up to play. And then Pitt's got to play. They host Virginia, so it's just crazy. Teams have the ability to upset others, and you saw how close the Georgia-Florida game was. I mean, it was close up in the third quarter until that bad snap on the field goal attempt. That changed really the whole game. But you cannot. It's very difficult to overcome turnovers and poor mistakes.
Yeah, well, those are the games that are coming up
Yep.
again. College football every week is pretty exciting. College football playoff rankings are out. We can see it. Teams are starting to already get complacent because they feel like they got it there. But that's the beautiful thing. You fall asleep, and you can lose to somebody that you never thought you would lose to. Some of the prognosticators are what are they saying? Again, 247 puts Clemson versus Ole Miss. We kind of just told you that can't happen. Yeah. Everybody seems to like SMU versus LSU. Athlon, College Football News. We have a Louisville versus Missouri. A Louisville versus Ole Miss. Clemson versus Vandy. I like the Clemson. I like the Vandy story, but hope that doesn't happen. No offense to any of my Commodores. Y'all are a great story. Just don't want you here. USA Today puts SMU versus A&M. That would be an interesting game as well. If you want to know what my prediction is, I can't tell you. You have to go follow TaxSlayer Gator on Instagram, and you will see what the local expert has to say about his. Outside of that, the game is getting closer. We will be with you every week leading up to when we actually have the game picked. We'll have our stuff, talk about all of the different things of what you can do with the Gator Bowl. But do with the Gator Bowl game. But if you're not a Chairman's Club member, that means you have not got a chance to scout a game. You should consider that. It's very, very fun. I've done 2 this year. A lot of guys have gone around and done these different things. What is the Chairman's Club and what access and why should people consider being that?
Well, the Chairman's Club includes really a lot of our corporate sponsors as well as individuals that have certain access to certain membership perks rather than really our Green Jacket Committee. And the Green Jacket Committee is very, very vital to what we do. And even some of the Green Jackets are able to scout. So we've got a situation where Chairman's Club, they have a great weekend like we talked about at Amelia Island. They have certain inside knowledge of what's going on. So a lot of things, but I think a lot of it, James, deals with the charity effort that we have. So many are involved because they love the football game, but they love being involved in our charities probably even more. So 2 very healthy initiatives there as far as sports mixed with charitable efforts. So pretty good concoction there.
I absolutely love the charity aspect of it. They get the athletes to go and they fill up bags, I believe, when they come here. So it's part of their bowl package. But we also have a great partnership with Dreams Come True. So we have some information with what we did with my guy Luke and some of the other dreamers. Cool stuff. Great to get involved. Also, really good to get your business and your name involved in the community here with one of the best bowl games in its 80th birthday. Which I got a chance to celebrate one of those with some touchdowns a couple of years ago. And this time we'll have 2 great teams, great matchups for as the college football season continues to progress. We'll make sure you're up to date with myself, Big Game James, and Greg McGarity on the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection Show presented by Toyota. We'll see you guys next week.
This past Sunday, and it was fantastic. We got to crown 7 city championships right here in the stadium. All incredible games. We love being able to support those young student athletes, and we're going to include some pictures and maybe a little video right here for you guys to see some of the action from the day. We hope next year that you will join us at the stadium for that. Save the date for the day after Florida, Georgia, so it's always that Sunday. tomorrow, I guess. And it's going to be great. There's a lot to cover as far as how selection works, both in the expanded CFP and how polls are selected. So if you have not done so, you're a bold lady, be sure to check your email and RSVP, and we'll see you tomorrow.
And as she mentioned, it is November, and so that not only means the countdown to team selection is on, but maybe more importantly, in this exact moment, it's giving November. And so we're going to focus a lot in these segments moving through the month about how you can support Gatorable charities and the work we do in the community. You've heard a lot from us over the past several months as we've been doing these videos, but today specifically we're going to talk about a new program that we're launching. So most of you know, and if you don't, stay tuned as you watch this happen this December, but our 2 participating teams for the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl each independently pack 500 bags of food, write handwritten notes from all the players, and those go to local elementary schools through First Coast Blessings and Backpack. We're bringing that concept to the membership, and so today we are launching the Giving November Member Blitz. So we want all of you to come together and raise funds to support a packing event that will be held here at the end of this month, so December 3rd. Our goal, we set a goal in conjunction with the Charities Board to raise enough money to pack 1,000 bags of food that will be distributed to local elementary schools. This will provide food on the weekend for kids who do not have that at home. It's $5 to feed a kid for the weekend, or $150 to feed a kid for the school year. So let the games begin. We want to say special thanks to David Davis and United Community Bank for issuing a grant for $2,500. So basically your fundraising is being matched up to $2,500, which will allow us the opportunity to feed 1,000 kids. So below, there's links, put it on your social media. We might be competing against you, so staff against the membership or some variation of that. Don't let us beat you because we will roast you for hours. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll give you an update on the fundraising campaign for Blessings next Thursday, among a million other things happening in charities. We'll see you next week.